By 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy about it. Why would you be happy about that? Well, turn off your brain and start listening, because we'll answer that question and more. Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, which is a group of the richest people in the world who want complete control of the world. Recently, Schwab endeared the world when he said, by 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy about it. Wow! That seems like a win-win, and he believes you're dumb enough to fall for it, and you kinda are. So here's how it'll work. Under the World Economic Forum's vision, governments and the super rich who already control the governments will own everything. That's a win for them. Meanwhile, you own nothing, which is a win for you, according to them. But you'll be allowed to rent things from the government that you need, like clothes, shelter, and a pacifier for your baby. You'll also receive an income from the government. Sounds great, doesn't it? This just in! We're already doing some of that. They're called stimulus checks. Does the World Economics Forum vision sound like socialism, communism, and totalitarianism? No, because they're calling it something different. The Great Reset, actually. This just in! We think you're dumb enough to let a guy who's never smiled in his whole life tell you what'll make you happier. So let's do the Great Reset. Now, does all this talk of the World Economic Forum wanting a socialist communist state for the entire world seem a little far-fetched? Maybe like a conspiracy theory? Well, it is. That's why on the World Economic Forum's own website, they're advocating for more Marxism. And if you're too mentally lazy to know what Marxism is, that's why it's all around you already. You've allowed it through your obedience. The reality is, you'll own nothing and be happy. And they'll own everything and be happier. This just in! Klaus Schwab was born in Nazi Germany in 1938. Guess the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree now, does it?
It's Lucy and Jeff going for walks and talks, talk about banksters and Bitcoin and globalists and stuff. It's Lucy and Jeff and tacos and kisses.
Fellas, you guys are crazy.
What do you think about the Great Reset, Lucy? Satan Klaus can go pound tacos. I'm making bank on my Dogecoin and my Monero. He can keep being evil and be happy. I don't care. And Greta can go pound tacos too.
How dare you!
Yeah, is everyone enjoying their 1-year free trial of Marxism? That's too funny. I'd like to thank Awake with JP once again. Another great intro video. We only included a bit of it. There's actually quite a bit more. If you don't know about him, we'll have the link down below. Go watch the rest of the video and like his channel. And yeah, it's just another day in the Twilight Zone. But in many ways, it's been great, as I've been saying. And Bill Gates actually has a quote. And it's, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. It's actually a really good quote because it's really true. Your average person can kind of focus on something for a couple days. Well, actually, your average person can't focus on anything for more than like 5 seconds. They don't know anything about meditation. Oh, where's Lucy? So they could barely focus at all. Some people are a little bit better. They can focus for a few. Oh, there's Lucy. She's right beside me. You're so small, Lucy. I know you lose me all the time. Some people could focus on things a little bit for like a few days, a few weeks, even a few months. You often see people working out and trying to eat a decent diet for like a month or two. But you know, it's really over a time frame of years where things really change. Even with exercise and a good diet, you will see actually pretty big results if you, let's say, do a fast and a keto diet for for a couple months, you'll see some huge results. But really the big results are the stuff that's like over a year. And a lot of people, that's sort of like the end of what they can really focus on is a year. But Bill Gates has really shown that he's, you know, you have to, I don't know what he is exactly, but he's definitely, must be on the autism scale or something. There's all these videos of him back when he was being charged with a stupid charge, in my opinion. I would have been 100% on his side, that he couldn't promote his own browser on his own operating system, so the government got involved. But you'd see him all the time while they're like questioning him and stuff. He'd just be rocking back and forth. So he's definitely he's on the scale at the very least. But he knows, and he has the ability to focus on things and have a long-term plan and a goal. And he's really proving that now with the Great Reset and his whole vaccination scam. This didn't all just happen in a few weeks or months. He's been putting the right pieces in places, along with a whole lot of other people as well, obviously, to basically put, you know, get the right people in the WHO, the CDC, the media, buy off all the media. This took years and years. He's been in the media for years as like Superman, and little kids are like, oh, hello, Mr. Gates. Wow, it's such an honor.
Hi, kids.
The real, actual, in-person Bill. Bill?
He's trying to say that we're big fans, Mr. Gates.
This took years and years. You got to give him credit. And the fact that he actually tells people most of what he's doing, like in his speech at TED Talk, where he had the stupidest math formula I've ever seen in my life. I forget exactly what it was, but it was something like CO2 equals, or no, it was so dumb. But basically it was CO2 times people times activities or something. Like if anyone would have said that, here's my math formula I came up with, it'd be like, oh, pat him on the head. It's like, nice try. But even in his TED Talk, he smugly says, with a smirk on his face, one of these has to get close to zero. And on the mathematical chart, it was like CO2, people, and activities. So either activities have to go to zero, which they've kind of been doing the last year, as you can see, or CO2 has to go to zero, which that's going to be hard with him buying up all the private jet companies. And he even just recently bought up CN Railways, so the largest railway company in Canada, I believe. So he's now the largest owner of that. So he obviously doesn't care too much about the activities or the CO2, but he smugly said with a smirk, one of these numbers has to get down close to zero. And people was one of the numbers.
This equation has 4 factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
He even came out like a year ago, right before he launched all this stuff. Maybe 2 years ago. And he said his favorite books on the top of the pile was How to Lie with Statistics. But you have to give him credit. It was a long-term plan, at least 10 years, that he has stuck with the plan and he has made it into reality. Everything we're seeing in the world today, that is, a lot of it's because of him.